Kids, aloha! I haven't seen you in such a long time. I guess it was last Sunday, but it seems like such a long time. Oh, I did promise you one. This is Coogie, the Coog, the Cougar, the Cougar. He's nothing but a big baby, not like Maymay. Maymay's one of those cats that just comes around, sort of like a looky loo, then jumps off. This cat This cat I found, the mother had the mother had three kitties, and this was the biggest one. He got all the milk. The other two weren't doing very well. But the mom just came and left them, and I tried to save the other two, but it was too late. They just didn't get any milk. This guy got enough to where I got pictures somewhere when he's a little baby. He was so small he fit in my slipper. And I fed him with a baby bottle too. Fed all my cats, the inside cats I fed with a baby bottle. All these feral cats outside, when I had 44, they seem to just drop off their cat to Uncle Martin. Figured, now I'm down to 22. Okay, Coogie, it's time for you to go find some food. Okay, kids, this is what we got for you today. A story. I promised you always a story. Um, the thumbnail is going to be rat poison. Rat poison is negative. Well, depends if you have to get rid of a rat. Okay, before I get to the rat poison story, I have to go back just to the last episode where I had said 22. My numbers. I'm working on my numbers, as you children should be working on yours too. And sometimes it takes a long time, even when you have so much experience like Uncle Martin, to still get his numbers correct. But I got to tell you, last episode, drowning at 3, I said 22 months. That part where the 22 months came in, I said 22, 23, 24. And then I was 3 years old. No, 22 months. 22, 23, 24. 2 more months, you're 2 years old, kids. 2, not 3. So I just wanted to put that out there. Uncle Martin made another mistake with his numbers, but pretty much I'm working on them, as I said, because they get reversed or something just happens with them that I'm working to this day on. And I promise that I'm going to get better, okay? Just wanted to say. And the last episode on the drowning one and angels, I promise I'll have more on the angels because there's loads more stories on the angels. Okay, so the story goes with mom. Mom made cookies. Mom made a lot of cookies, and kids, would you like a cookie? Oh yeah, I want a cookie. Would you like some pizza? Pizza, I want pizza. I didn't. No, this is on the cookies. Pizza's great too. Cheese pizza, absolutely. I'm still down on cheese pizza. Maybe a little fungi, mushroom, or scotchata, little spinach, something like that. But cheese pizza's fine. But the cookies, we ate so many cookies growing up that mom got really, really positive at making cookies. Well, she burnt a few, but not very many. And they were basically the tall house, the eh, coconut cookies. She made all the cookies you can think of, oatmeal cookies, pecan cookies, every cookie you can think of. And they were just fantastic cookies. Well, one time, the cookie jar, I guess it was when we were told not to go into the cookie jar. I can't really remember if it was me or bro. I'd like to blame him, but I don't really remember, so I can't say. The cookie jar was put on top of the refrigerator. As you well know, kids, when you're 3, 5, 7, oh, by 7 you can, well, even 3, you can. I'm not going to tell you to get a chair, and I'm not going to say that and get up on the counter and then you can get the cookies. I'm not ever going to say that. That's negative because you're not listening to your parents when they say no more cookies. Okay, but somebody did it. We broke the cookie jar. So that's when that's when we were told we're not going to get any more cookies until we get a cookie jar. And you know what, kids? We weren't that rich. Mom and Dad, they were going to NAU, Flagstaff. They were starving students. With we weren't starving. We always had food, usually bean and cheese burritos. But we had enough to food. We had food. We had shoes on our feet, clothes on our back. So we weren't that poor, but we couldn't afford a cookie jar because somebody broke it. So Mom said, when we save up enough money, we'll get a cookie jar, and then I'll start making cookies again. So it must have been years. Well, I think it was only a couple months, but it seemed like years. So what happened one day, this is what happened. We were, by the way, kids, by the way, when your parents say, don't go in the garbage, all right? The garbage. You don't go in the garbage. You know that, kids. Your animals shouldn't go in the garbage. Everybody, you put things in the garbage, but you don't go in the garbage. In fact, what you probably they're doing, kids, I'm sure you're taking garbage out, throwing it in the dumpster or whatever, and not over somebody's fence, which would be negative, or wall. It'll all come back to you karmically. Trust me. You basically, it's a chore. It's a chore. We all do chores, right? Garbage would be one of them. Taking the garbage out, then you get your money, and then you can save your money or spend it because it's your money. Now, what happened was um, we were told to stay out of the garbage, by the way. Um, but you know, kids, sometimes you don't always listen to your parents. And that's basically what happened with me and Bro one particular day. We were going by in Flagstaff, one of the big green dumpsters, and I had climbed up on the ladder because I just wanted to see what people were throwing away. That's all. So when I climbed up, there was nothing in there. There was nothing in there except one item. It was it was it was it was a cookie jar, and it was a big fat pig cookie jar, and it was one of those. I don't know if you can remember these kind of cookie jars, but it was like a pig with his tongue on the side, and he had a blue hat, and he was pretty much in yellow dress, so it was a blue hat, which was off to the side, and it had just a little chip on the top part where the little beanie was, that just a little chip on top. That was it. I couldn't believe it. And by the way, the chip was on top, and it wasn't anywhere. There was no cracks. It was a perfect cookie jar, and the hat was perfectly no cracks except a little chip. And that's the other thing I wanted to point out to you kids. If you have a chipped plate, a chipped glass, you throw it away. You learn this when you take food handlers classes, which I don't know if anybody does anymore. I think you just go online. You don't have to. Well, anyway, if you're going to be dealing with food, as I have, there's a law in the food handlers curricula that if there's anything cracked, like a plate or a glass, you throw it away. And why would that be? Why would they do that? Because it's bacteria. Bacteria forms in the crack, and then the bacteria multiplies. I mean, no matter how much you wash, no matter what you do, well, maybe if you use Clorox bleach, but then you're going to use the plate again, you're going to have bacteria. Something negative is going to happen with the next course of food that you have on that. Bacteria breeds germs. Okay. So I get down in there and I'm screaming. We found, yeah, we're gonna get cookies. We're getting cookies. And bro, by this time he's 3. I'm 5. He's 3. He's a climber. We're both climbers. He climbs up the ladder. He looks in and says, "I have a cookie jar." So now I'm climbing back out. Well, I'm admiring what I have in my hands as a fat little pig with just with the cap that's the chip on top, but no cookies are ever going to touch it. So I didn't even know about the bacteria story until years later. I don't think it would have mattered to me at that point anyway. But what do I hear in the garbage bin now is bro going, "Yeah, I found cherries," and I'm thinking cherries. I don't remember seeing any cherries in there. So he climbs back out and he shows me this bottle. It looked like a Mercurochrome bottle, which you'd have to look up, kids, what a Mercurochrome bottle is. I don't think they have Mercurochrome anywhere. It was a dark squared kind of for boo boos. You take it out and you put on your boo boo, and it would turn like orange, and it kills all the nasty things. I don't even know where you could find Mercurochrome today. Yeah. So bros, and I'm looking at this bottle and I'm saying, "Nah, that doesn't look like a Mercurochrome bottle." And he said, "No, it's cherries." And I said, "No, no, that has skull and crossbones." And I said, "Skull and crossbones? I can't read. I'm 5. I'm 5 years old. I'm 5. I can't read." So I said, "Bro, I think that's poison. Skull and crossbones, unless you're a pirate, with a flag, it's on something. It's poison, kids. Any skull and crossbones, a skull, crossbones, on any object means poison. It's poison." But bro, he opens it up. He smells it. Smell this. It's cherries. I said, "Yeah, it smells like cherries, bro, but I believe it's rat poison because see next to the skull and crossbones there was a rat." So I couldn't read, but I could see that these two items going together, rats and skull and crossbones. I believe it did say rat poison on there, but I was 5. I couldn't read. So what's the bro do? He says, "No, it's cherries." He drinks the whole bottle, the little bottle. It must have been good stuff because it was just a little bottle. Probably just needed a little eyedropper point. There was no eyedropper, by the way. So I said, boy, bro, you're gonna get a spanking for this one." And he said, "No, it's cherries." So I take the bottle away from him after he drank it, and we walked home. And I guess that's what happened when I guess I said, "I think bro just ate some rat poison." And they said, "Well, how do you know that?" And I had I had the evidence. I brought the evidence. I said, "Well, I think," and they got so concerned. I think mom said, um, "I'm gonna take the. I'm taking bro to the hospital," and off they went. And then dad, it was just me and dad. Dad interrogated me on questioning me, saying, "Did you know that was rat poison?" I said, "No, I don't think it was rat poison, Dad, because I can't read." He says, "Yeah, but it's skull and crossbones. There's a rat next to it. You didn't know it was rat poison?" I said, "Well, because I always told the truth most of the time." And I said, I had to tell him the truth. I said, "Dad, I saw the skull and crossbones. I saw the rat, and I smelled the cherry, And I did kind of think maybe it was rat poison. So I admitted the truth. And then Dad said, "You knew it was rat poison and you let your brother drink it?" Well, he was pretty quick, Dad. He was really fast, but you could have taken it away from him. Son, I've got to give you the black belt. And so I did. I That was one of the many that I got. And for sure, I guess it was my fault for not taking the rat poison away from my brother. So that's what I'm trying to tell you kids out there. If this ever happens to you, somehow your little brother, your little sister is doing something that's going to really hurt them, like it's really hurt them, you're going to have to step in and stop this from happening, um, because that would be the positive thing to do. What Uncle Martin did was negative. See, um, although when Bro got back, he wasn't looking too. He looked pretty pale, and I guess that's what happened when you eat rat poison. They pump your stomach, and it's not very pleasant, kids. I think they have to put these tubes down you because you can't throw up what you ate, because that does more harm, they say, on that stuff. So he had all kinds of suction coming out of, well, they took all the rat poison out and probably a lot of other breakfast, whatever else he had. So he came back and, well, he learned his lesson that he would never eat rat poison again, and his brother would never let him do it. So that's pretty much the whole thumbnail on rat poison. The only other thing is Bro was quite a character. He was almost like a Leave It to Beaver, and Leave It to Beaver did come out during our time span. I believe it was 47 to whatever. 47. See the numbers again. 57, I believe, the first airing point, and then it went to whatever season was. And that brings me to the next, I guess, cute little story. Bro climbed up a tree, and you got the trees, when they go up, they go out this way. Well, he got caught in the crotch of the tree, and he couldn't get down. So we had a bunch of people around looking at Bro up there screaming that he can't get down. So he climbed up like a bear. I guess it's something he saw me do. I was able to climb Ponderosa Pines. I bear hugged the Ponderosa Pine, and I was able to shimmy my way up and then get up to about 7, 8 feet. That's about when they start growing their limbs out. If you everyone knows about a Ponderosa Pine, and kids, if you ever do that, by the way, it's very dangerous. So I would not suggest you climb up a Ponderosa Pine. But in my case, I was climbing everything, and I had pretty much no fear anyway. But when I climbed, I'd hold on to the limb, and then I'd put my arm around the tree, and then I'd grab the tree again like a bear, and then I'd shimmy my way back down. So I guess bro must have saw that. So he tried that, and he did, and he got up to the crotch of the tree, and now he couldn't get down. So he's screaming. Everybody's coming out to see Bro, and that reminds me of, was it during the time period of Leave It to Beaver when he climbed up that to the billboard? Was it a billboard, and it was a big cup or a soup bowl or whatever it was, and the beef got stuck in there? And I was thinking, well, maybe we were watching that. We were watching that, and he was mimicking that. But I had to Google. What was the time period of beef getting stuck in the bowl or cup, whatever it was, and I believe it was around episode 32. You know how I am with my numbers, so don't nail me down on that. But I do remember it was probably um, about 1961. So it couldn't have been something we watched, because that happened to Bro in '59. See, I was 5 and he was 3. So what I'm saying is, kids, we all climb. We climb. And don't be climbing unless you're able to get down. That's all. That's all there is to it. And you know how everybody likes puddles. This is another little thing I'm going to throw out there for anybody that likes back east or somewhere where it's getting cold again. So puddles, you're going to freeze over. And when the puddles freeze over, you know how you like to go over and jump on the puddle. And some of the puddles, they just go down a little bit and they don't even bother with your shoe. And it's cracking the ice and it's just a fun thing to do. Well, that's what we did. We didn't have much to do when we were growing up. So that was one of the pleasures that we had. We found puddles and we ran to them and jumped on them and we cracked them. And that was the big fun that we had. Well, this one particular time I remember, see, I said, whatever episode it was, I believe the episode, if you thumbnail down or whatever it is, it's why kindergarten, right? And I said, I don't remember anything in kindergarten. Well, here you go. Rat poison is another one I just remembered. And this other one, while I'm talking to you about it, I did puddles. That's so when I was eating my graham cracker on that episode and I was looking through the doors and I saw Mom walking up the big brick walkway. Well, that's the walkway that they put about 24 trees. And then they dug down about 2.5 feet by about 2.5 feet wide. They dug down, they put these brand new baby little trees in, about a dozen of them. So then they filled it up with water hoses. The water hoses had all been filled up. Now it was getting cold. As everyone knows in Flagstaff, you have 4 seasons in Flagstaff. So it was getting cold enough to where all the water was being frozen. So that's what I'm saying, kids. It's fun when the puddles are not as deep. That's all. See, because Uncle Martin figured after 3 days, these holes of water had to have been frozen. Well, little did I know that when I got about halfway up to school, and I just couldn't resist it. I just couldn't resist it. I saw the water frozen, and I ran over, and that little Viking chick that I was swinging with, I was walking with her up, and she's saying, "No, don't do that. I don't believe it's safe." I said, "It's fine." Then I ran over, I jumped up in the air, and I jumped on that ice, and it cracked perfectly. And then I went down up to about my neck, and I was in some cold water, and I couldn't really, was wondering how I was going to get out of this hole and there was a tree. The tree was right standing, so I climbed up the tree a little bit, and I got out. So she went on to school, and I went back home, and I believe I didn't go to school that day, but when Dad came home, I got the black belt. See, because they were telling me not to jump on the puddles anymore because I think somebody had done that earlier. And when we did, we had, I believe, tracked some mud into the house. And that's why we weren't supposed to jump on the puddles anymore. Well, kids, you're supposed to listen to your parents and your guardians because they always have things that either they've went through before or they know better, okay? So that's why you always want to listen to your parents and guardians as much as you can, because just because they have more experience and you're saying that they're old, that's the wrong concept. Because they have more experience, they're not old. They have more experience. See, we already went through old and young. I'm not going to go back there again. So that's all I really had to say about rat poison and puddles. And it's going to be a short one this time because you're all probably ready to go off to bed now, kids. And I do have some things, as you can see, I'm a little more dressed up than normal. I have some things to take care of. So if it comes to fruition, if it comes out to where I can make an episode out of it, I will. But right now, that's pretty much where I'm going to leave everything. Is always remember to listen to your parents and guardians whenever they're telling you something, because it is for your benefit, and you should remember that at all times. So until we see each other again next Sunday, I gotta say, Aloha and be well.